Hello composers and creatives, it's Heyde, and today I'm doing another VST review for Strezov sampling. So if you remember a little while back, I did a VST review for their Choir Essentials, which was a phenomenal library, and they also sent me over these strings called Afflatus strings. Now this string library is massive. It is so huge, and there are many overviews and walkthroughs of the full library out there. I will be playing sounds and talking about different patches, but I'm gonna focus in on the sounds that I like the most and the ones that have made their way into my projects the most frequently. If you find this video interesting and helpful, do me a favor, leave me a like. It helps other VST companies find me. You can subscribe for more videos like this. I upload once a week. And if you want to really support me, be sure to check out my Patreon at the end of the video. All right, so this is my template loaded up. The only thing I have loaded in are actually the Afflatus strings, which I'll open up here. And as you can see, the way I've organized my different libraries is I have each library kind of indicated from top to bottom. Now these are my cinematic studio strings, which are highly expressive, but take a very long time to program. Then below here, I've got my LASS strings, which are extremely responsive and playable, but not quite as realistic sounding. The reason I like Afflatus so much is because they sit perfectly in the middle. They are very expressive and very easy to program. So let me actually play you through a couple of the patches. Here are violins. Now I have some reverbs on, so I'm gonna disable those so you can hear it just dry for now. Now, like with the Choir Essentials, one of my favorite features in these libraries is the polyphonic legato. So just like Choir Essentials, you can actually play multiple notes at a time, and the engine will do its best to actually give you the legato, and it's very good. That is such a huge time saver with arranging. Okay, so let's move on to the other articulations. So we also have tremolos. Okay, we have sul ponticello sustains, which is a really cool patch. These are really gritty and metallic, especially with the cello, which I'll play in a second. Next up, we have sul ponticello tremolo, really great spooky effect. Love that one. We have Marcados, which is just kind of like an accent into the note. A bit more strident sounding. These Spiccatos, which are our shorts. Now the Spiccatos, I notice it has like a chamber sound, which I actually really like. It feels a bit more intimate in a way. So it's not quite like cinematic, like Hollywood blockbuster. It's more intimate, small chamber sound. And then lastly, we have Pizzicato. Beautiful. Now we also can turn on sordino, which is our mutes for these, which is a great feature. So legato normal. And here's legato with the mutes on. A bit more of a kind of strained sound to it, muted, dull, which is a great effect. Now, we also have our different mic positions, which I'll demonstrate here. Here is our close mics only. Here's our decas. And here's our hall mics. So I actually like to keep them all on. I think they sound great as is, but of course you can kind of mix to your heart's content. Let's go over to the cello for demonstration purposes again, but you can check out full overviews and walkthroughs so you can hear all the sounds. Here is cello legato. I really want to hear the sul ponticello tremolo. Oh, it's so creepy. And then here's just sul ponticello on its own. Again, very like kind of metallic, gritty sound. Very cool. Let's hop into the basses just for one more demonstration. Let's check out bass pizzicato, why not? I always like to hear the bass pizzicatos to see how they sound. They're good. I actually like that they resonate a little bit, so they're not very short. Some libraries have very short bass pits, and I like when it rings out. Now, other features you can do in some of these patches, if you click the gear icon, include niente, which is having it kind of appear from nothing and leave. I demonstrated that in the Choir Essentials video. Changing the different CC values for these things, changing attack and release, changing if you want the velocity to actually influence the dynamics a little bit, and a few other features. So I don't actually play with those things too much, but they are useful. Okay, now that we talked about the basic patches, let's go into some of the more colorful patches. So this is one I use quite a bit. It's called Impressionist Trills, but what it really is intervallic trills. It's a great feature. This patch is just specifically for this. So if I play a trill by, let's say, G and G sharp, then I'm getting a trill, of course, but if I change that G sharp to an A, and keep going, then we're actually getting the same effect. Now, this is different than tremolo. Tremolo is gonna have a bit more of a gritty sound. This is gonna be a bit softer because they're actually playing da and alternating with their finger. So we can do that with intervals up to an octave, so. I love the fifth one, it's so cool. The octave one is nice too, so it gives a little shimmer. So you could have like cello, for instance, playing these intervallic trills. It also only goes violins all the way to cello. There's no bass impressionist trills. That would probably sound a little weird. So here are the cello, like in their low register. I mean, that's just such a cool color, and it's different than tremolo. I also really like their kind of avant-garde patches. So the avant-garde ones are controlled by two things. One is the sustain pedal, which is CC64, and the other is the pitch bend. So let me demonstrate how these work. So I play a note. It's gonna have a little bit of atonality to it. If I press the pedal down, then I get this warble, like beehive effect. Let go of the pedal, it goes back. And then pitch bend will basically influence the direction, so. So you could use this in some really creepy ways, you know, like, let's hear it with the low strings. So as you can see, very creepy sound. You could also play with mic positions with this, like just have them in the back of the hall. That would probably be interesting. I love it in the high register too, it's so creepy. We also have Avant-Garde Strings Staccato, which is a nice feature. So as I play a note, we kind of get clusters. So we could do things like this. So fun. It's so fun. Very creepy, but fun. Kind of Bioshock-like. This reminds me of Bioshock. Now, a couple other patches I really like. String Quartet Spiccato. Now, there are chamber strings, legato with all the articulations for Afflatus strings, but I'm just gonna talk about this quartet ensemble patch because I really like it. So you'll see it's a much thinner sound. I love it so much, it's so good. And then also another spiccato or staccato, we have the contemporary strings, which is a slightly different sound. So it's more similar to the ensemble strings, but it has a bit more of a upfront and dry sound. Those are the primary patches I use, but just to show you a couple more, I'm gonna just kind of dive through a little bit, kind of with you in real time. So here's the first chair, cello. Really nice sounding, actually. Let's see what we got. Very good. Now the shorts on the first chairs seem to be a little bit less short, so they're not as spiccato. So that's why I kind of like the string quartet spiccatos. But the legatos sound wonderful. I really like them, actually. Very nice. Okay, let's pull up another patch. Let's go over to the arrival strings. Okay, so they're actually meeting the note wherever we are, which is cool. Another kind of little atonal thing. And they're very playable. That's what I like about it. Even the atonal stuff, they've done it in a really smart way. Here are lush strings legato. That's great if you just want a full legato patch. That's great for sketching because you don't have to worry about the ranges of the instruments. You can actually just do a legato and then copy paste that over to whatever string you want to send it to. Let's go over to staccato strings. I have a feeling I know what this is going to sound like. So yeah, very, very, very short. Aha. Great, it almost has a little bit of bite to it. I love that. All right, let's check out a couple more. So the Sakura strings Tenuto, that's the rite of spring, so it's probably imitating something from there. Tenutos are nice. I think they're a very underused effect. They're very like stoic sounding. I really like that. Undercover strings short. Yeah, let's check that out. Great, so we've got like piano, pizzicato bass, and I think spiccato cello. Oh, and saxophones, very cool. These things are just so nice for sketching, and that's what I really like Afflatus for, is it's this perfect balance between things that are very playable, so it works well for sketching, nice ensemble stuff, but also stuff that can be orchestrated out in full. Like I said, my cinematic studio strings, they are so realistic. They're kind of my bread and butter still, but they're very difficult to program. And these I always wind up going to when there's fast runs that I want to sound expressive, or when I want to sketch and be able to do polyphonic legato. I mean, these are a huge asset for this. So instead of revealing the whole library, I'm gonna let you check that out for yourself. You can see plenty of demos and walkthroughs on Strezov's website, so I'll link that in the description below. Hopefully you found this little overview helpful. If you have other questions about how I use these strings, just let me know in the comments section and I'll get back to you. Again, huge thanks to Strezov for sending me these sounds. I'm using them all the time now and love them. And another huge thank you to my patrons who help to fund these weekly videos. If you wanna become a patron, there's a lot of rewards like monthly hangouts, Q&As, and some audio and MIDI files. So I hope you'll check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.